Hey guys, Mike Monty here. Been a while. I don't really know how long. I've done a couple of shorts here and there, and I recently sort of just was talking to myself, as you do, and realized that I really miss just chit-chatting with the camera and how that leads to talking back and forth through comments and answering questions and just getting that old YouTube vibe of hanging out with whoever's on the other side. So I'm making myself set up the camera, get the microphone that I haven't used in 3 years out, grab the yo-yo, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to be messing around with this trick that I've been attempting to work on for probably 4 months now. I mean, I've been doing some of these elements for a while now, but I'm not consistent at it yet. And when I do hit what I like, kind of like this thing, whatever this is, although it got double twisted that time. 1 second. Okay. So it should be something like that. I don't really know what I want to do from there. Like, I could reject that loop off and do some slack stuff with it, but unfortunately I don't hit it consistently enough to like actually build from there. So every time I do hit it, it's just like, okay, I got there. Let's experiment and see what we can do. So like that. Like, I don't want to do the rejection this time. I thought that maybe I could flip it over, then reject it. But yeah, whoa, almost created a knot. I mean, I did create a knot. I just almost dropped it and made it permanent. Anyhow, I don't really know how much I want to talk, what I want to talk about. Um, I guess I could tell you what I've been up to. For the most part, I've been working on my eBay store, trying to build up my inventory. I've been going through my old Pokemon cards and listing them on there. I've been using OpenAI's Codex in VS Code to build a Pokemon card tool that I can I just take a bunch of top-down pictures of the cards, front in a sleeve, front out of sleeve, back out of sleeve, and I just do that for as many cards as I want, airdrop them to the computer, put them in their own directory, import that directory into the tool I made, and it automatically detects the corners of the cards, and once it's detected the corners, it will warp the images flat, crop it to a square, identify the cards. After that, it attempts to do a condition, like a card condition check. To ideally, once I've got, well, right now I have about 2,000 cards in my inventory. So my hope is that as I get more and more cards, and I've labeled more and more of them as near mint, played, or damaged, that if I train a model, well, I've already trained a model to attempt to identify the cards, and I don't really know how good it is because it feels like I correct it maybe a quarter of the time, but it's not that hard to just go, they're all played quality, and then I'm only correcting it when they're damaged or near mint. But I guess the hope is that once I've got a broad enough amount of pictures that have been labeled, have those three types, that when I do some follow-up training, that I'll get a model that can automatically detect card condition for me, which would be really neat because at the moment, that's like the last thing that I need to try and automate if possible. Everything else about the system's automated. Once I've got the card condition marked, then I can go in and I have a eBay listing page that I built that I've connected with my eBay account through their API, and it will automatically upload the cards to my store. Right before I do that, I have a recently completed sold listings thing that goes through every card and it searches for its name and its number and its set, and it tries to find like the lightly played versions of a card, or the near mint versions of a card, or the damaged or heavily played versions of the card. It averages out what most of the items on that page sold for. It cuts off the top and bottom 10% just to kind of give us the middle average. And then my card prices are set within a quarter of whatever that average is. And then I automatically add them to my store. When I first started, I was much more involved in like individually taking pictures of all the corners and all the front and the back and the angle just to get like everything perfect. And I would research the card and I would write up a description and I would get the title just right. And it was getting to be like 10 to 15 minutes per card. And I've got several thousand. And I'm basically giving up some of that over the top attention to detail so that I can process faster. And the hope is that I'll have enough up that it'll be kind of like when I've attempted to write out what I'm doing, the analogy I come up with is this is like being on a fishing boat and I'm just casting lines in the water, and the more lines I cast, the more likely I am to catch the fish, to get the sale, to find a customer. So I have a eBay store set up for the 10,000 item limit, $60 a month to do that. So if I can make $60 a month selling cards, then it pays for itself, and at the moment it does. And I just want to try and work my way up to those 10,000 cards, and then I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll sell subscriptions to the system and let other people use it. I don't know. There are already systems out there that do what my system does. I don't know how good they are because I can't afford to pay for someone else's system, so I just built my own. Codex is only $20 a month, so as long as I don't go over my weekly quota, I can just keep on going until I hit my quota. And it's stable enough where if I do run out of credits, I can still use the tool and still use it to run my store. So yeah, that's what I've been working on for the past probably 8 months or so. It started off as individual scripts, like a price checking script and an identification script and the square cropping script. And over time, I got tired of running individual scripts and I started going, hey, we've got all these things. Can we put it together into a single application? And that was done in like 5 minutes and I felt like an idiot, but now I've got a tool that I can work with and I can iterate upon and improve. Yeah, every so often I hit that and it seems to work. Not that time. Need to adjust my string tension. So yeah, aside from that, I've been homeschooling my kids and I've been working on a homeschooling tool to make that easier on myself. And then I don't really know what else. Been reading a lot. I read Harry Potter with the kids. We are probably on our 4th round through the series. I need to stop reading it once we finish the 7th book again this time, and I want to switch over to the So You Want to Be a Wizard series because I really liked that as a kid and I thought they might like it. I've also got the Redwall series that could be fun, and maybe some of Gary Paulson's, I think that's his name. He wrote the Transisle Saga. I liked that when I was their age. I've been reading a lot of that to them. Been doing a lot of my own reading. I read a book, well, one called The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. That was really good. I read The Big Print by Lawrence Lepard, I think is. Hi, I've decided to interrupt this. I'm not going to do any more overlays because it's already taken me a week and several days to get to this point. So here's the video. His last name. Kind of a cautionary tale about how inflation causes issues and his experience dealing with it over time. And he's a Bitcoin proponent, and I would consider myself a believer in that as well, so I'm naturally inclined to like it. Just got a bad knot. Aside from that, I stopped reading nonfiction recently, and I switched over to a book called Accelerando, which I keep hearing about on the Moonshots podcast, which I usually listen to while I work. And I mean, I'm really liking the book, but it's like very adult and then very sci-fi and then very adult and then very sci-fi. And it's like, oh, I can't read this to my kids till they're 40, I guess. Anyhow, that's kind of top of mind, anything I can think about. We got my daughter Willow a butterfly kit for Christmas, and so I've got a bunch of caterpillars in clear containers on my desk. Hypothetically, I don't have to or shouldn't open these containers until they're in their cocoons and or chrysalises, and then I can move them to the pop-up butterfly tent that came with the kit. So that'll be interesting. I guess we get to release them once they become butterflies. They're painted lady butterflies. My mom ordered those in for her. So yeah, it's been fun. Hope you guys have been well. I know that this isn't the original YouTube channel I used to do this stuff on. This is the one that I made after deleting all of my internet. I got rid of all social media. I don't have anything except for YouTube at this point. I mean, I technically have a Telegram, but I use that to chat with my OpenClaw Carl, named after Carl Sagan, of course. And I'm mostly using him or it as my, I don't know what you would call it. I told it I wanted it to be an expert on me, and then we built it was a timeline app that I could just put all my stuff like journals and pictures and videos into and organize it by time. And recently we started calling it the Atlas, but I've dumped 1,100 journals, 200 something random unfinished essays and random writings and some life events and some pictures and stuff. And yeah, that's the only social media app I have, and I don't use it as a social media app. It's really just the channel I use to communicate with. Technically, it's Codex 5.3 by OpenAI, and I've built kind of a personality on top of it. It's not perfect yet. I've installed it and completely erased it like 4 times, and this time I'm just trying to stick with it and see what happens. So yeah, it doesn't have a lot of internet access, like it's not going to be publishing my journals or anything, but I just thought it would be interesting to be like, hey, can you tell me what I was up to the last year, or what are recurring things that I complain about, or given what I've written that you've analyzed, what are my biggest personality flaws, or what's something I could work on, or where do you think I should focus, like what are my strengths, like stuff I should know anyways, but I just thought it would be interesting to outsource a piece of getting the bird's eye view of the recorded portions of my life. I would also like to put all of my old trick videos into it. Not that it could analyze them, but I would go through and I would tag them so I know, like, these are the laceration videos, and these are the suicide catch videos, and these are the whip catch videos, and these are the slack videos. And then I could make giant compilations of videos, or here's all the best tricks from 2015 and 2025, and I don't know. I do a little bit of everything. I'm a dabbler, as Connor Price would say. I don't really do it, I dabble. All right, let me check and make sure this is recording. Okay. We've been going for 14 minutes now. I'll just keep on messing around for a while. I think I've said everything that I can think of saying, so whatever else comes out of my mouth is bonus points. I wonder how long it's going to take me to be able to do this part on purpose, where it always lands where I want it to. That was close. Sometimes I think the loop just hits it on the side and it doesn't grab, or it bounces out of the gap. I don't know why I'm doing this though, because it's like a lot of the tricks that I've done in the past, it just like they just feel like they come together on their own. And this one is just like, I kept doing this and I liked how that naturally undercut on its own. And then I was like, well, let's do the UP-Slack thing. And once you get there, I'm just trying to find a way to make it flow back and forth, but also use the Slack and use the catches. And I don't know what I want to do with it. So I thought, hey, what a good excuse to turn the camera on and start talking to an audience again, because I miss doing it. If you want to call yourself an audience, I don't know. I don't want to presume. You know, some people prefer to be called crazy. Now I have Connor Price playing in my head. Normally, what I would do is I would turn on some music and I wouldn't talk, and I would yo-yo until I landed something that looked cool enough to post to a short so that people who don't care about yo-yoing would watch my video. And I don't really want to, I don't feel like being an entertainer for the masses. I mean, it's kind of cool when something you make goes viral and a lot of people watch it and you're just like, wow, that's awesome. But also, they go away as soon as they come. They don't give a shit about the hobby. A lot of them talk shit about you in the comments, like, look at this dude, look at this adult still playing with toys. It's just like, yeah, well, you're playing video games and I'm actually building shit, so why am I getting defensive about it? I don't know. It's just, I would prefer to show what I'm working on to people who know how hard it is to do this stuff and who might be like, hey, that's interesting. I saw someone else do something like that. Go check this out. It'll might give you ideas. Or, oh, that's cool. But what if you like did an undercut, or you did a rejection, or you did a whip, or like the general public isn't going to know what that is, and for the most part, they just want to see you do that shit. And I don't like that shit. That's pandering. I don't like pandering. I don't know why. Because it makes my string tension messed up. That's why. Anyways. Anyhow, I'll do this thing. How's it going? Mike Monty here, coming live from my bedroom. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks to Todd for the comment on yesterday's practice session. I appreciate it. And I haven't worked on this all day, so instead of talking myself out of doing yo-yo practice tonight because I don't feel like it, I am going to do it anyways. Still don't know what to talk about. I worked on the Pokemon card tool most of the day, and I finished labeling, like manually moving the corner detection dots. Some of the photos where, like when I hold the card in my hand, I can see there's a bend or a crease. In the photo, it's not obvious at all, so I don't know how the model's going to find that, and then when it sees future examples of damaged cards, also detect it, but here's hoping. Anyways, what I've been doing all day on that process is breeding 10 children models of the best performing parent model that currently is like random chance how good it's going to do. I probably could have just started from a blank slate and had just as good results, but it finally finished making 10 models based on that initial model. Think of this like artificial selection. Yes, this is like a farmer breeding animals for a trait, or an agriculturalist, herbologist, whatevs, selecting a plant that has traits that they like and then pollinating just that one plant to get more of it, or to hopefully have offspring of that plant that creates more of that desired feature, like a bigger tomato, whatever. In this case, what I'm hoping is going to occur is I have a ranking going on my computer right now, like several thousand, at least 2,000 cards, conditions are on my computer that I've manually marked as near mint, played, or damaged. And I have those 10 new child models plus the original parent model, going through and marking on every single one of those cards. And then when it's finished, there's a script that will automatically rank them based on how well they did. And then I'm going to go back in and well, I don't know why I'm having such trouble describing that. I'm ranking the models so I can find the next best one, so then I can do this process again tomorrow. And I'm just going to keep on breeding 10 new models off of the best performing model until I have one that actually does a good job. So my computer's over there doing work while I'm over here torturing myself with a trick nobody asked for. Trying to make up things to talk about. See, that's like a good way to kill the spin of your yo-yo. Right there. Anyways, trying to think up things to talk about while you're trying to also think up things to do with a trick that you can barely land the next mount into is quite an interesting assignment, pastime, ordeal. That could be cool. If I can remember that I did that, next time I'll try it again. Eh. Do I have to say every time I miss? Yes, I do. Let's see. I was kind of hoping I would hit that string and bind, but I guess I'm not cool enough. If I could write you a song and make you land a trick. I'm going to stop right there because the next thing I can think of that rhymes with that is not appropriate. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I was going to go like this and then reject and then get mad because it didn't. If you hiss at it, it shows dominance. Welcome to allergy season. Although it's been raining most of the day. Like double wrapped around me where it shouldn't be. I don't know how I did that. Thank goodness I'm filming at 240 frames per second and never going to watch it in slow-mo, so I can't figure it out even though I could. Wee. 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 Can you tell I'm tired? It's 10:30 right now, I think. This is what I get. Can't just do walk the dog. Gotta do whatever the heck this is. I can't even do the stupid rejection because it was double wrapped. How dare you? How dare you? I don't even know what she was offended by. I just know it's a meme. It's meme-tastic. Oh, little Greta Thunberg. You'd go out to see a movie. That's what I get, instant karma. I can see that the model is still working. How dare you? How dare you? I can't use the same meme twice in the same video. It's against the law. I broke the laws of physics for this. Can't even do the rejection because it's double wrapped again. You know, I'm trying to do something. You're making me look like a fool in front of my friends on the internet. Oh, wait. Wait. Takeshi. Whee! Oh, I missed. Sorry, Takeshi. Commentator. Makes you wonder how the people that are actually good at yo-yoing make up tricks. Because their stuff is like, wee, I whipped it over my head. I'm so original. And I'm like, haha, I suck. I'm so original. I can't even land a whip thing with a twist and a rejection. And whoop, floor, floor. Oh well. Stop being silly. Practice. They say it makes perfect. You gotta do perfect practice. At what point do I ban? Like, it's double wrapped again. Am I supposed to just go, hey guys, we're gonna do a gyro flop? And then it doesn't do a flop and I look stupid. Try that again. A lot of the times it looks like it's gonna land and it just like bounces right back out of the gap. Yuda. A bit. Okay. Probably do like 3 more attempts. 1. It didn't even reject. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't want to have a green triangle in this trick. Like, they're fun and all, but so overdone. You see them everywhere. They, as I've said in the past, they're like the glitter of the yo-yo trick world. They just end up everywhere, and you can't get rid of it once it's there. It's terrible. I just want to land the mount once more, and then we'll call it. Alright, I landed it. Now what? I still think that there should be like some kind of rejection. Maybe I could throw that loop around and catch it on the back side. Do something fancy. I need to get comfortable talking to you guys again, and that's probably weird to hear considering all the videos, thousands of videos I made over the years. But when you take a several year break, you kind of lose the comfort in doing it. And you gotta re-earn that comfort. So as far as being a yo-yoer goes, what I mean by that particular topic is I don't know if this is normal for other hobbies, but in this hobby, it becomes your identity, or it became my identity. I don't know if this is normal for other people who play with yo-yos. If you think of yourself as I'm a yo-yoer, that was always the label that I assigned myself over the years. I am a yo-yoer, kind of like some would say I am a skateboarder or I am a violinist. I've heard people call themselves yo-yoists, like Paul Harness's bio on Instagram back in the day was yo-yoist, and I think his actual screen name is yo-yoist. And ist just doesn't feel right to me, but if that's what you want to call yourself, cool. Is what feels right to me because that's just what people called themselves, like thrower, yo-yoer. Anyhow, what am I can't even say what am I getting at here. I don't know what I'm getting at here. I'm just talking off the top of my head. For most of my life, from 2003 when I was 13 years old, when I first picked up a yo-yo and started taking it seriously and not just going from the childlike wanting to walk the dog, do a forward pass around the world, to, oh, there's actually depth to this, and I can go to competitions and I can get good at this and I can get respect for this, or at least recognition from people who understand it. It became a big piece of who I was. I would spend and do spend a lot of time trying to get good at these tricks. And in the past, I would try to come up with freestyles so that I could go to a contest and, like, you'd want to win. I would want to win. I would want to do a good enough job where I could get up on stage and people would cheer and there would be a video and I could upload it and people would go, wow, that was a great performance, or it's obvious that you worked really hard on that, or I don't know. I got a lot of self-worth out of this hobby. I got a lot of social validation out of this hobby. I felt like I was a part of a community, a part of a group. I had my tribe. It was us versus them being the people who just didn't understand that yo-yoing is a way of life. They just don't get us, man. I don't know. I have early memories of seeing the back of a Duncan yo-yo package and it said something about send in your tape, and if we think it's good, we might sponsor you. And something about that made me think, there's more to this than just being a toy. You can, like, that immediately made me feel like I could get some kind of validation from it. Like, as a 13-year-old, I wasn't thinking that. I was feeling it. I was feeling like something significant could come from it. I always say that I started yo-yoing in 2003 when I was 13, but that's not true. I started playing with yo-yos before I was 10. I remember having pro-yos, like, I don't even know what they were. They were basically those looping pro-yos, and I remember using one as a hockey puck, and I remember being able to do, like, double around the worlds and thinking I was cool, and then you would set it down and forget about it for a while. And then I saw a yo-yoer at the summer camp I was going to, and realizing, oh, there's a lot more to this. Like, I've been at the top of the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, and 90% of this hobby has still been hidden from me under the deep blue, crystal clear Arctic waters. And I needed to dive in and figure it out, understand it. And then I remember watching the Smothers Brothers on a VHS that someone from our church had recorded on, I don't know, I guess their VHS recorder. And realizing not only could you play with a toy and earn money from it and get societal validation from it, but like hundreds, if not thousands, of people in a stadium would think it was awesome enough to cheer for you and to show up and watch you and think it was great, even if you were just being silly with it. So there was a lot of that in the back of my head, I think, when I was at that summer camp and saw a yo-yoer just fiddling around waiting to pick up one of their grandchildren. And as soon as I met them, I started going to these bi-weekly yo-yo club / class meetups at their church or the school where they were working. I don't know exactly what they did there. And I went with a buddy of mine at the time, and we both learned how to yo-yo together, and we went to a couple of contests, like the 2004 National Yo-Yo Contest. And it became very apparent that not only all that stuff that I've been thinking about and trying to talk about is true, but like, you can compete and you can get sponsored and you can go around the world. Haha, fun. You can be sent around the planet to demonstrate this amazing hobby that some of us have picked up, this cat's cradle puzzle of a thing to do. Remember watching Augie Fash win that year. Remember meeting Steve Brown and Dr. Popular, not being able to talk to them, like trying to say words because I'd seen them in videos and just being so starstruck that they didn't come out right. I remember afterwards Augie Fash helped teach me how to do the iron whip. So it's his fault I know how to do that. And then I started going on to yoyoing.com/forum, if you know what I mean, or /news, I guess. And I didn't know what to call myself, so I'm looking around my room trying to think of a screen name, because everything I could think of, and I don't even remember what the alternates were at this point, so long ago. The first thing I saw was a kite. We had recently gone to Cannon Beach in Oregon, and my parents had bought me a stunt kite. And so I just look over and I see a kite and I go, well, let's try that. Type in KITE and screen name's available, surprisingly. So my yo-yo pseudonym suddenly is Kite. And a lot of old school yo-yoers that were around back then still call me Kite if I get over my social anxiety and show up in Discord. Or in person, I guess. And suddenly I became aware that not only could you have a job with yo-yos, that you could earn a living just being good at a particular skill, but there's a community, a worldwide underground community. And I had just gotten on the internet. The internet was pretty new to most people at that point. Like, most people didn't use the internet in 2004. Like, it was the nerds that were using it, and whoever had happened to get an AOL CD in the mail. And so we live out in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. I rode the bus to school and I didn't walk home. I didn't have any friends that lived nearby. It's like a lot of old people that live nearby, so I didn't have people to spend time with in the afternoons. And when I was done with school and I got home, it was just, you're alone, you don't have anyone to talk to. And suddenly I had this community that I could go and I could chit chat with. And like, there's a lot of that I regret, but I mean, who doesn't regret how they talked when they were 14? I've gone back on the Internet Archive and I've tried to find Kite in yoyoing.com/news. And a lot of the stuff I said was really stupid and really cringeworthy, but I always had this feeling that like I could go anywhere on earth, and if I needed a place to stay, a couch to crash on, some yo-yoer somewhere would be willing to let you crash on their couch and you could hang out and do tricks together. This was before you could like make videos together and post them. Like, there was no Instagram. YouTube was barely getting started. Like, I don't even think it was around until 2006 or 2007. I think my first YouTube account that I still have, it's Mike WM90. I think it's probably my oldest public account, has some 2005 National Yo-Yo Contest freestyles on it. Like, there wasn't a good way to distribute content. If you didn't have a friend at the Glass Lab or Sector Y, or just somebody who understood how to set up a server and host a website and was willing to not stream your video, but upload your video so that if people wanted to, they could download it, like, you weren't going to be known by anyone. Around that time, I got into learning how to do HTML, like primitive website building. And I started making my own website, and I would attempt to distribute videos on it, and I would take the links to those videos and share it on yoyoing.com. And if you did a good job, you would get a lot of responses and upvotes. Like, it was almost like Reddit in a way. And if you did a bad job, one person would go, "This video is a waste of time," and no one would check out your video because it would take a half hour to an hour to download the video before you could even watch it. Like, it's not like streaming where you just hit play, it buffers for a second, and you can watch. You literally had to wait a half hour to an hour before you could even see what was going on. Like, I don't know, like, you had to earn your place in the community. You couldn't just post a trick, go viral, and you meant something. And maybe that's a piece of why I don't feel comfortable in social media anymore, because I'm looking through my lens of history and missing what it felt like to earn your place. Or, I don't know if that's true, but it comes to mind. So yeah, I've always felt this feeling of, this is my tribe. And a lot of that is gone these days. And I don't really know what to do with that, because it's such a formative piece of who I am. I literally, for more than 23 years, have said, I am a yo-yoer. I have organized yo-yo contests, more than one, state-level competitions, city-level competitions. I've done things on the internet. I've been sponsored. I've made my own yo-yos. I've written a book on how to yo-yo. I've made tutorial videos on how to yo-yo. I've taught at least 100,000 people how to do some of the basics, even though I deleted all the accounts that was on. Like, it was cemented as who I was. And then something happened with me, and I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't want to feel like I had to have that label anymore. And also, I'd start to question, like, is this just something I'm doing because the 13-year-old me picked this for me? And I've had a struggle with that for a long time. Like, am I just doing this because the child me did it, wanted to do it, saw all of these indicators of validation in it and chased it? Or is this like destiny, and all of those childhood things, like finding the yo-yo in the toy box at the Christian school before the year 2000, and it was full of knots, so they let me take it home, and then my dad helped me fix it, and then I learned some of the basics of yo-yoing. And, like, is that destiny? Because I don't believe in that. Or is it just like there's these things along the way that became more important over time because of the fact that it was getting reinforced more and more as time went by? Like, you happen to play with a toy before you're 10, and then after you're 10, when you're 13 and you're looking to be accepted by people, you see that toy that you used to not really think anything about, but you thought it was fun or interesting, or you felt, I don't know, like, when you learn a skill, you feel, I have felt really good about it. Like, when you put an effort to do something and you finally do it, it's a big serotonin hit. A lot of endorphins come out of that. And so maybe it's all just tied together by that early chemistry. I don't know. I don't even know if I should attempt to read into it. But I do know lately that I've just gone hard into being a dad, and hard into, I need to earn a certain amount of money every month so I can pay the minimal bills that I do have. And I also, like, as the pandemic hit, I had just gotten through the divorce, through a lot of drama that came after that had to do with it. And there was like this fear of anything I post could get me in trouble, even though nobody gave a crap what I was posting. And then the pandemic hit, and you're isolated, and you start dealing with that. And then I joined TikTok and took it seriously and started posting like 6 times a day. And then I assume I burned myself out. And then also some of those videos went viral, and suddenly you have this lens of the general public on you, and it's like, it's not just attention, it's like a magnifying glass and I'm the ant. So I don't know. The reason I'm doing this now, and I am talking a lot and I'm focusing on one trick and I'm not trying to make it interesting, I'm not trying to edit it, is I want the audience to self-select. Like, if you're sticking around for this, you're probably a yo-yoer. You probably either know who I am, or you just think that this stuff's interesting, or you just want to hear someone talk while you're like, I don't know, washing dishes. And my hope is that I'll get people that are going to bring back the vibe of those early yoyoing.com/news days, where, like I said, it feels like you could just crash on somebody's couch. You had nothing in common. You were a lawyer, you were a machinist, you were a physicist, you were just some random pothead, or like some delinquent, or in the case of my buddies in Ditch Down, you were a tattoo enthusiast. And all of these people could just get together and vibe and have a great time because they all shared this hobby. They were all yo-yoers. And I miss that a lot. And that's a piece of why I'm getting back into doing this. Like, I can't even land this stupid trick idea, and I've done 3 nights in a row now, and I haven't been able to get myself to get in front of a camera for almost a year. I don't even know what I want to do with this trick and why I'm still chasing it. But I like the idea of having people that get this feeling to chit-chat with. I'm going to do my regular checking the camera and see if it's recording thing. So one sec. Let's land the mount one more time and then call it a night. I might need to adjust my string tension. As per usual, I'm still working on the Pokemon card tool. I spent all of today working on the card condition model again. Actually, this morning found a bug in it. For the last few days, I've been training. I think I mentioned in the past that I take the best performing model. I train X amount of children from it. I rate them to see how well they're doing, and if any of them do better than the parent, they get promoted and become the new parent for the next round. Selective breeding style. And for the last few days, I haven't been noticing any progress, and it's been really frustrating. So this morning I complained about it, and it turns out there's a bug, or was a bug. That's fixed now. Now we're actually making progress every time I do a training. So I just finished a training, now the ranking's running, and I'm going to stop talking about it now. I'm not 100% sure what I want to chit-chat about while I try to work on this trick tonight. When I was asking my agent, Carl, and when I say agent, I mean AI agent that runs on my computer, it's a OpenClaw. It was suggesting things that I had told it I had already talked about, and it was like, okay, well, we already talked about community, we already talked about yo-yoing just for me, or yo-yoing for attention. I'm gonna just let that idea of talking about yo-yoing for attention versus yo-yoing for me kind of stew for a while. And the idea of community came to mind, like, yeah, it suggested it, and I did chit-chat about it for a while yesterday. But over the years, I've had this cognitive dissonance, or I don't even know if that's the right phrase, like this uncanny valley kind of thing where I've analyzed being in a yo-yo community. And I've thought, okay, is there a violin community? I guess maybe if you're in an orchestra or a choir, you would be in the choral community. Or if you're a diver, you might be in the choral community. Dad jokes. Is there a golfer community? Is there a dartboard community? Like, this all feels like local stuff, not something where there's an international group of people that get together online and talk about what it means to be one of us and enforce what it means. Maybe I should actually write an essay and then talk about it. I'm not sure. It, with a little bit of thought, just becomes weird. Like, when I was in bowling, like there was a league throughout junior high and high school. Yeah, we would go to the bowling alley and we had our teams, and I felt connected to the team I was on. But I didn't think about it like this community in the same way that I do with yo-yoing. Maybe it's just because one's a bigger hobby than the other, or a bigger sport, or whatever you want to call it. But I can't think of anything outside of yo-yoing that I've ever done where it felt like this tight-knit group of people that come together on a regular basis and are aware of each other and have ideas of each other's pasts and know each other's character, and you build reputations. Like, I mean, my dad probably has something like that with drag racing. I can't think of anything my mom would have where it's a community feeling. Maybe church. I'm pretty sure this is obvious at this point. I don't know what to talk about right now, and that was the idea that was presented to me, and I'm attempting to just roll with it to see what happens, but it doesn't feel very good so far. And no other ideas are coming to mind. Another idea that was suggested by Carl was talking about the burnout, and do I still think of myself as a yo-yoer? Am I still a yo-yoer in other people's eyes, I guess, after that? After taking a step back from trying to build a brand and be a recognized person to a group of people, do I still label myself? And I don't really know. I mean, every so often when I would get the urge to be around people and I would join Discord, sometimes I would join like the Throwers Discord or G2's Discord and feel welcomed and appreciated by a group of people who I otherwise hadn't seen for a while. But I don't know if I'm, in doing these videos, chasing that again, trying to elevate myself. Like, the phrase tall poppy syndrome comes to mind, and I'm like cutting myself down before I can even start. Like, I don't know. I've always felt awkward when I've gone into a group and I've been treated like I'm something special, because I don't feel that way. And it's nice when it happens. Like, I try to be humble and grateful for it and say thanks and all that, but just feels weird. Because, like, the only contest I ever won was a contest that though I got the title, I still technically got second place, and it was kind of a hollow victory, which also doesn't feel very humble to say. Like, but I mean, I worked for years to get to a point where I could win that title, and I got that title. And the only reason first place didn't get it was they didn't have a Idaho mailing address, basically. So, I don't know. It's very... It doesn't feel like I've earned the respect that people have given me. And maybe it's just I've been so far away from this for so long that I... Or maybe I just really suck at taking a compliment. I don't know. But it just has never felt natural. I'm starting to get a little bit better at this little thing, but I don't know what I want to do with it. If I try to like land it up here, it immediately kills the spin for some reason, but if I do it from here, it doesn't. But something about having this loop back here, I want to think of something to do from that. Like, I could basically do a, whatever this is called, magic drop. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with any of this conversation at this point. This is why you guys need to leave questions in the comments. Like, if you ask me about myself and then I don't have to riff about yo-yoing, it is a little bit easier for me. I don't know if I would want to put a ripcord in this trick. It's tempting to do something like this, and then I don't know if I would want to, like, a couple of videos back I said I didn't really want to incorporate a green triangle into this trick, just because it's like the glitter of the yo-yo world, and you see it everywhere, and once it gets stuck, it's hard to get it out. I mean, green triangle is a great trick, but it's overdone. Or it was overdone. I don't know if it still is. I'm way out of the loop. I don't know if that's a pun or not, when it comes to knowing what's going on in yo-yoing. Like, I haven't watched a freestyle in a long time. Maybe a couple of months, and then before that a couple of years. And I don't know if I want to get back into watching competitive stuff. I definitely don't want to get back on social media. I don't like how it feels when I'm on there. Like, I feel like I have to be performing. And when I'm standing around in front of the camera, hoping to land a clean enough trick that I could edit into slow motion to share, instead of exploring an element, I'll see something interesting, and I won't do it cleanly, and then I go back to whatever it was that I was able to hit clean, even if it isn't actually interesting to me. But yeah, I would end up chasing whatever was easy enough to land, that was passable as hard, that the general public might think was cool, that I could get a lot of likes on, or a lot of views on, instead of actually trying to do something that I know is hard, that I would be proud to do. Like this trick, I'm really struggling to make it work, but I am really enjoying working on it. And I think a piece of it is knowing that I don't need to share it, and I don't have to force myself to do something with it tonight. If I really want to work on it, then I can just sit here and work on it, and I can talk to the camera and maybe get a few comments to reply to, and if not, I'm just sort of documenting the journey of this trick. And once I do finally figure out what I'm doing with it, and I get good enough at it that I can make a nice edit of it to showcase it, then I'll feel like I'll have earned the right to share that short video that you would normally go on Instagram or TikTok or whatever to share. But I'm still just going to keep it to YouTube. I want to keep it on one platform, I think. Immediately screw it up. Another thing about trying to land content for a short is every time I miss, I have to catch it and throw it again and try again. Because it will be obvious that it's not perfect when I do the slow-mo edit. So instead of iterating fast and keeping going when I screw up and trying again without having to catch it and throw it, I would interrupt that learning period so that I could do it perfectly for a short video to maybe get the attention from people that don't even care about EIS. So I was like short-circuiting my ability to learn and improve in an attention-seeking, motivated way. I don't know. It just doesn't feel good. Unlike this trick, which feels great. As per usual, I worked on the Pokemon card tool a lot today. I've been still working on the card condition training model training system, whatever. And it's starting to make progress. I've gotten the card condition model up to 75.3% accuracy, and I need to do more trainings. Like fuzz all over my shoulder. Alright, well, yeah, I got that more accurate, and then I started processing cards to post on eBay today. And when I went to upload them, there was an error, and I couldn't decide if there was something wrong with my account or what. And after a couple minutes of research, one looks like eBay has been down for like 8 hours, and they're just claiming it's a technical issue that they're working on. And apparently some hacker group is claiming responsibility like it's a DDoS attack. So I ended up just watching some videos for a while. Someone named Hera that plays Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, I think it's called. Randomly stumbled across it the other night and thought, hey, that's neat. I used to play Age of Empires 2 Age of Kings, and so I figured I would watch some of these streams. I guess it'd be like World of Warcraft. Not World of Warcraft. Just Warcraft. I think that's what it's called. Sorry, touch the mic. And yeah, you build up a civilization, you upgrade, you go through the, I don't know if you would call it a skill tree, it's like a tech tree, upgrading your troops and upgrading your villagers, upgrading your buildings. And the ultimate goal is to beat all of the other civilizations and win the game. And I guess he's pretty good, somewhere within the top 5 or so. But yeah, it had me thinking when I was brainstorming what topic I would use today. I thought, well, I could talk about games I like to play. I can't play Definitive Edition on the Mac, and that's the only computer I have. I mean, technically there's services where you can, like, I don't know if it's emulating a Windows computer or what, but there are applications you can use to play a Windows game on a Mac. I just don't really want to buy it right now. I don't know if it's a monthly fee or if it's a one-time purchase. If it's a one-time purchase, I might go ahead and do it. And because I think the game's only like $5. I could be wrong, but it just looks fun. And it takes me back to my childhood where I would literally, this used to be the computer room, and I would camp out in here for like 2 days, just building up a civilization and trying to win wars, or I would almost play it like it was Sim City and less like it was a world domination game. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed like developing my civilization and making the layout look neat, and occasionally using the cheat codes to like spawn in Cobra cars that can shoot like machine guns and stuff. I would have a lot of fun with that. So I would like to play it again just because I'm getting a really big nostalgia kick watching him play, watching Hera play. Except for the computer tech limitation. So anyways, I can't play it right now, but I still have Minecraft. I have it on Java Edition on the computer, and I have Bedrock Edition on my phone. And I have never beaten the dragon, like beaten the game, beaten the dragon, gotten to the end, gotten Elytra. I've always just like played in creative mode and gotten Elytra and fireworks that way. But I would like to actually beat the game for once, even if it takes me a week or longer to do it. I'm not going to speedrun it, although those are the more entertaining Minecraft videos I watch. But it would still be nice to actually beat it and have a survival world where I've earned my wings, if you will. I'm inclined to do it on Bedrock on my phone. I have a gamepad I can put my phone into, and I have I think it's like a $4.99 realm that I can play with my kids on, so we just have a survival world there. And we started a new one recently, and I thought it would be cool to actually try and beat the game with that one. It would be hard though. Like, I'm struggling just going down into a cave and not getting totally annihilated by skeletons and creepers. I don't know, I just seem to get swarmed and then overwhelmed, and it's really hard to control it on the phone, even with the gamepad. It's a lot easier to like jump around and move around quickly on the computer, the mouse and a keyboard. But yeah, I don't know yet. At the very least, I need to put a little more time into the realm and like build up a little house and town around the base that we have. So it's more fun to play and it looks pretty. But at some point, I would like to actually beat the game legitimately and get an Elytra. Maybe do some redstone projects, even though I'm really terrible at using redstone. I think the most advanced redstone thing I've done so far, and it's just from following tutorials, is the auto sorting inventory systems. And I've done a little bit of auto crafting, but I would like to make some of the farms that I see people on YouTube make. Like, once I do beat the end, I would go there and make an Enderman farm. I would go to the Nether and build a gold farm, maybe a wither skeleton farm, maybe a auto trading piglin thing. I don't know if you can do completely auto, but I know that you can use crafters to take zombie piglin drops. They drop gold nuggets, and you can use the auto crafter to make the gold ingots, and then you can have a dropper spit them out automatically to hoglins, who will then trade you stuff that, I mean, you technically could get it yourself, but it'd be an interesting way to automate getting some of that and then have it go through an auto sorter. Maybe get a whole bunch of zombie meat for trading with clerics, because then they'll give you emeralds that you can use for other things. Like, I don't know, I really enjoy watching it done, and I really don't mind putting in a few hours to build the fun things and trial and error, try to get them to work. And I don't know, it's like a puzzle. I'd probably like that Factorio game. I've never really actually watched it. The most I've seen of it is Call Me Kevin and Let's Game It Out play it, and they don't play how you're supposed to play it. They usually just try to break the game. But you can do stuff similar to that on Minecraft, and it's one of the few games that I do have at my disposal, so it'd be fun to play it. Aside from Minecraft, the kids usually have me play Roblox with them. My son likes to play a game called Strongest Battlegrounds. I believe it's based off of One Piece or Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh, it's Jujutsu Kaisen. He also likes to play Blox Fruits, which is based on One Piece, the anime or manga / anime. I actually don't know if it's a manga. I do know it's an anime, and I also know it's got a live action version, but I don't know if he likes that as much as the anime. But those are the games he plays. I've grinded in Blox Fruits a little bit and gotten up to a... Well, I know I'm past 700 because I can go to the second sea now. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, you're just going to have to Google it, because I'm like just riffing at this point. And my daughter usually plays more like role-play style games on Roblox. Like there's a Feather Family game where you can be a bird, and the longer you play in the game, the more of the in-game currency feathers you get, and you can trade those in to be different species of birds. There are a few mythical ones, but there's a lot of actual birds that you would see in real life. And typically what happens in those situations is she makes me spawn in as a baby bird, and then she acts as my parent and takes care of me and makes me sit in the nest. So it's not so much playing as just spending quality time together, which is fine. And then she'll play these almost, I don't know if you would call them simulation, like business simulation games. Like you can start up a kingdom, and it's kind of like a very light version of Age of Empires, but on Roblox. You can add buildings to have production, to make more of the in-game money. You can use that money to buy troop-producing buildings. You can send those troops out to conquer a couple of flags around the map, and if you have them, you get some bonuses. One of the flags, or a few of the flags, increase how much, or basically every time you harvest the stuff from your economy buildings, you take it to the store and you can sell it. And if you have conquered the correct flags, you can get a 5 to 15% bonus of pay. Other ones allow you to have more troops. Like I think the standard is 10, just default. And you can buy buildings that let you have more troops, but they get, I think every time you buy that building, it doubles its price. So the next time, first time you get it, it's 100,000. The second time you get it, it's 200,000. And I think I'm up to like a 1.5 million right now or something like that for the next building. But if you capture certain flags, you get a bonus 5 troops or a bonus 10 troops. And it makes it easier if you have strong enough troops to defend the flags you already have. But you can't like just distribute the troops. You have to be strategic, because wherever you send them, all of them are going to go to it. And if someone who has stronger troops than you joins the game, they can kind of just weaken your hold on those areas eventually and then take it from you. So it's kind of a whoever has the strongest troops is going to win, and less strategy. But you can still like go around those other flags and block the routes. And to like, if there's flags between you and the central flag that has the most bonuses, which is like the most contested one on the map, if you control the flags between their base and that central flag, and they want to attack the central flag, they first have to control the flags between their base and it. Otherwise, their troops will just attack those flags until they own them. So that one's kind of fun. I like it because it's almost a strategy game. It could use a few upgrades, of course. And, well, she hasn't really played it in a while, so it's mostly me that likes it. And I had to stop playing it because you can very easily just sit there for hours and never actually do anything because you're just like waiting for yourself to get money. It's almost like an idle clicker game where it's technically a waste of time, but there's enough bells and whistles and dings and red dots where you're like, I really gotta keep playing. Gotta pull that slot machine. Most of the other games that the kids like to play, I don't really enjoy. They just... Yeah, you just randomly got loud. They're just not my style of game. I do really like this game called Hypershot, where it's basically a first-person shooter. Sometimes... So the game mode's random. Sometimes when the game loads, you're in a team deathmatch, and all you gotta do is either get the most points or have at least, I think, 50 points to immediately win the game. That could be interesting. They also do free-for-all, they do gun game, they do capture the flag, and I think that's it. I know that there's other game modes, like you can duel people, but I haven't messed with that at all. Usually when I play that game, I just get the rocket launcher and a hang glider and this like jump boost. And when you combine all those, you can launch yourself into the air, fly around, and just sort of rain hell down upon people. And so I really enjoy doing that. I'm sure it's annoying, but everyone else in the game is really good at shooting, aiming, and sniping, so I always get picked off from this guy, so it feels fair enough. If I play with a normal gun, I'm pretty average. If I play with the rocket launcher, I can usually get top 3. So it's... I don't know. It's like the noob tube in Call of Duty. So that's kind of a cheat. That was supposed to be wrapped around twice, but I saw it was going to, so I like dropped it and then landed it. Not quite there yet. And I don't actually know if I like what I've made so far, but it is kind of building off of what I have so far. I just keep needing to work on the flow of the trick. And getting more consistent at landing this part. And I can't remember how I'm going to do this. So the part of yesterday's video that got cut off was me figuring out how to add, basically how to add this to the end of, try that one more time, how to add my slack combo that I don't really do anything with, this, to the end of the trick. And I liked it, and then I was like, cool, it sounds good, let's go and check it out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And then I walk around and I'm like, oh, it stopped recording 5 minutes before I landed that. Damn it. So that's why I'm a little aggravated, because now I have to figure out what was the connecting dots between this trick that I can only sometimes land and that combo. And whatever it is, it cannot be from a trapeze. I do not want to go from complex stuff to a trapeze and then going back into the trick. It needs to flow into... Basically, I need it to end up here and immediately go into it. I'll find it again, or I'll find a way to do it. Who knows if it'll be as satisfying as it was yesterday. Anyhow, hope you guys had a good weekend and that you're doing well and that you're making up your own tricks. And if you're not making up your own tricks, I hope you're learning cool tricks. Bonus points if you're making up your own tricks, though. I saw that the King and Queen of England came over. Don't know what accent that was, but they were here. Kind of maybe an Arkansas drawl, with a little bit of Texan. Not going to do accents. That's Let's Play Yo-Yo, and this is Michael wasting everyone's time. Welcome back to another episode of I'm Gonna Waste Your Time, trying to land a trick that doesn't exist. Welcome to part 2, where we continue landing something that doesn't exist. I don't know what I'm getting at. This is what happens when I don't have an idea of what I'm going to talk about before I hit record. The problem being, if I didn't just set up the camera and get going, I wasn't going to do this. I'm like, already tired. I already want to go to sleep. I gotta play with the beard for a while. And it's after 10 o'clock, so like it isn't unreasonable that I want to go to sleep. How do I... Okay, so instead of catching on my finger, I was supposed to let that slack come around, go in here, and now we're into the trick. And that's kind of how it would end, maybe. Obviously I need to do it all in one shot perfectly, so I can like post it for clout and all that stuff. But unfortunately the tricks that I think are cool, general public doesn't think are cool, so they don't get views. It's wrapped around my finger. Lego. How dare you? I'm trying to land a trick, you silly yo-yo. Anyways, starting to figure out where I was last night. Still haven't figured out how I'm going to play Age of Empires on my Mac. Makes me... Like, I'm already mad at Apple for making the iPhone kill itself, or at least its storage. And then they just make it impossible for game developers to give you games on the computer that cost more than a frickin' car. My first car, not a new car. Could you stay on there long enough for me to move on to the next part of the trick? Yells at string. Another thing I was complaining about in yesterday's clip that got cut off was... No, I guess I wasn't complaining. I was happily proclaiming that I enjoy using zipline strings as Skyline because it's what I've been using for years, and that every time I run out I'm very happy to order more because it's a local company based in Nampa, Idaho, so it's like 30-40 minute drive from where I live. But one problem with the string is it likes to move really fast, which causes these double wrap things. And I think a bit of my issue with this part is that it gets double wrapped, and if it doesn't double wrap, it bounces out of the gap because it's moving so quickly. And I don't know what to do about that, because anytime I switch strings I get frustrated because it just feels wrong. It takes like weeks to get used to a new string. There we go. See how it was double wrapped when I wanted to move on to the next element? I couldn't because it had wrapped an extra time around the axle. That's what I think is being caused by this super fast moving string. But I could be completely wrong, and it could just be a skill issue. I don't know what I want to do from this point. Like, I've got an X, and it's not even in Texas. But I feel like if I can smooth that out and get better at landing the start of the trick, that might be a cool trick in general, but I won't know until I've looked at it from the other side of the camera. And in the typical tradition, I'm going to go now look and make sure that that recorded, because I'm going to be very frustrated if I've missed it. Okay, we're good. Because it's run out of space. Because I would like to actually record when progress occurs, rather than just go, hey, by the way, yesterday I landed it, but you didn't see it because my phone sucks. But I have shown you, essentially, what I think the trick is going to be. Now I just need to get really good at it so that I can see a polished form of it and decide, do I like that or not? Well, given that I've technically hit what I think I want to hit a couple of times now, let's just try to hit the initial mount one more time, even if it's the first thing I do right after this gets reassembled. And we'll call it a video, since I don't really have anything else on my mind to talk about, and I've shown you what I want to do. I guess the next video will just be me practicing the trick until I am getting consistent at it. I don't know. It feels like that's going to take more editing, but it could just be like fast forwarding through it unless I say something and then highlighting the trick in regular speed and slow motion like I typically do, and also cropping it into portrait mode so I can post it as a YouTube short. By the way, that's in the next video, not this video. And also, I'm going to be catching between attempts. Yeah, not exactly what I wanted, but I technically did what I set out to do, so I need to stop recording now. Can't learn that because it's twisted weird. Hello. I don't know why I did that. Hi, it's Tuesday night. I have been listening to some live news for most of the day, kind of watching what the royals are up to while they visit. I've enjoyed the speeches. They've been very polished. I don't know if they're polished, but they just felt good. Better than any speech I've ever given. Better than any speech I've listened to. I guess probably not true. Anyhow, I've been enjoying the speeches. Been enjoying watching the bands, the military bands, do their marches and play drums and stuff. I've enjoyed some of the historical humor, the ironic humor that tends to come up when the country you had a revolution against and left comes by to say, hey, how's it going? Happy 250. You remember that time when you used to be us and you're not anymore? This is awkward. So it's been an interesting little bit of that. I know I'm not supposed to talk about politics, but I don't see how you can spend a day watching politics and not bring it up. Aside from that, we did our normal homeschooling, as you do. I started a new practice with the kids today. Normally we just do like 20 to 40 minutes of them reading their books in the morning, and then go into math, and then go to English and grammar, or vocab. And then we go into science, and then usually I'll have them do something like go into Scratch Junior and test out programming, or go into Procreate and do some kind of art project. But today I thought, around or after lunchtime, we need to practice reading in a way where I can hear them reading, so I can ensure they're not like missing words or putting the wrong words into sentences. So I loaded a book that I remember reading in intermediate school called Into the Dream, where the main two characters, I don't really know how to talk about this without spoiling it, but it's like a 20-year-old book at least, so maybe I should just spoil it. If you don't want to know how Into the Dream goes, stop watching. I don't know. Anyhow, the two main characters in this book, plus a third surprise main character that you don't find out about until a little bit later in the book, they were exposed to a UFO, and I think probably Roswell or somewhere like that, while they were still like babies at the time, while their parents were staying at a hotel called the Stardust. And while they're there, there's this interesting UFO situation where it just kind of lands in a field near the hotel. And because these children were so young and exposed to the radiation of this alien artifact, they gain telekinetic or psychokinetic or telekinesis powers. I don't really know. They can move objects with their minds, they can communicate non-verbally, all sorts of cool stuff. Like, the whole story starts out with these kids having a dream, and it being a really weird dream, like a pretty intense one that keeps happening over and over again. And then the kids realize that they're classmates in the same class. They're two separate people having the same dream, and the girl goes up to the boy one day, I think on like a recess or a lunch break, and she's asking him, "Is that you in the dream? I swear, I look over and I see you in the dream." And he's like, "What?" And she explains the dream to him. And he's like, "How do you know how do you know what I'm dreaming about?" And it just becomes this interesting adventure where they start trying to like solve the puzzle of why they're both experiencing the same dream, and then they try to figure out like how are we having these, like, what caused us to have these powers apparently, or to be at least going through this weird phenomena of sharing some kind of consciousness. And yeah, anyways, I don't want to just keep on going and spoil the book, but that's kind of how it starts. And so I thought, I'm going to load that into our homeschooling tool, and I'm going to read a page, and then Weston will read a page, and then Willow will read a page, and I'll pay attention to what they're reading, and if I notice any issues, I can correct it on the fly. And they did pretty good for the most part. There's a few words that they struggled with that I just jumped in and I said the word, or I asked them to sound it out if it was a simple enough word. There were some more complicated ones that I can't think of off the top of my mind, but some that I just gave them the word and then I expected them to say it and then continue reading. And it went well. I was rather pleased with how they did. And we're just going to keep on doing that for a while. So that was the change to the homeschooling process today. It felt good. I did do a little bit of work on my eBay store today, getting Pokemon cards ready to be listed. And then I got distracted because the corner model hit like 86% accuracy today. Not corner model. The card condition detection model hit about 86% accuracy today after an overnight training and ranking. So I've decided to take a short break from working on that particular model. And I've got a training running on the corner detection where, like, I take 3 pictures of a Pokemon card. First, it's in the protective sleeve. And then I take it out of the sleeve and photograph the front. And then I flip it over and photograph the back. And that's it, 3 pictures of the card. And once I've got all of the cards in the batch photographed, I airdrop them to the computer and I hit go. The first thing that happens is this model that I trained. It's a neural network that... Why is that not working? Getting closer. Anyway, it's a neural network that I've trained for several months now to detect the corners of cards, because in order for a future step where the card gets automatically identified, for that to work, I first need the card's picture to be perfectly flat. And even though I've built a rig out of cardboard, that I set my phone in and then I put the card underneath the cardboard rig and the phone's perfectly flat, aimed at the card, it's still a little skewed. So this corner model finds the corners as close to perfect as it can, which it's already doing pretty good. And then there's a script that warps it flat, and then there's another script that crops it to a square. And then after that's done, I have a library of hashes of images that we created using a master library of Pokemon cards that are just kind of out there for software development people to play with. And the picture I've photographed, the front, unsleeved picture, gets hashed as well. and it gets compared to every single hash in our master library. And whichever one it's closest to is most likely the card, and within a degree of certainty, and also considering the gap between first place and second place, it tends to automatically identify all the cards in the batch. Some of the early sets where they remade them into like the legendary collection, sometimes there's confusion there, but that's where, because it's not certain in its identification, it alerts me to go in and manually pick the winner. But once you get out of like 2007 and forward, most of the cards' art is unique for now. I don't know if that's going to change as I move into the more modern stuff, but for the most part, the art is unique, and there's like 50 points of certainty between first place and second place, and then second place to third place, it's like 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. So it's obviously the right card. Once it's identified all the cards, it goes to the next step, which it attempts to gauge what the card's condition is: near mint, played, or damaged. That's all I really care about for my store. And I'm really generous. Like, most people would classify a lot of the cards that I say are played as near mint, and a lot of what I say is damaged. It's got like a binder ding, and a lot of people would say that's moderately played or just played. But I would like to err on the side of caution and give the people that buy my stuff the opportunity to think, I would have said that this is played, or I would have said this is near mint. I got a deal on this card. Instead of thinking, that guy said this is near mint and it has a ding on it. I want a refund. I would prefer they be happy and surprised than disappointed and want a refund, and it becomes a customer service issue, which I'm happy to deal with. Like, if there are issues, I want to make the people happy, because I'm grateful that they even gave my store a shot. The more that I sell, the easier it is to get more sales, because you get more feedback and people trust you more. It's like a snowball effect. So, yeah, I switched to training some corner models today, or I'm training a batch of 10 of them right now. I probably need to have Codex go back and work on the training process for corners so that I could set it to do the 10 loops of training overnight while I sleep, with a max of 1 hour per training. I don't know if it'll be that easy. I don't really know why the card condition training can do that, but the corner model can't. I think because it's using higher quality images, or, I mean, technically the condition system is using higher quality images too, because you want to give the model the most information you can to guarantee or to improve the odds that it will more accurately gauge the condition of the cards, because the ultimate goal of that system is I don't have to sit there for an hour after photographing for half hour and manually mark what the qualities are. I want to get it to a point where it's like 99.5% accurate. And if I sell 100 cards, there might be one, or might not be one. There might be 1 out of 200 cards or sales where I need to apologize and refund someone. Like, at a certain point, if you want to scale, you need to try and find a way to speed the process up, and this feels like one of the ways to do that. But it's not there yet. I will still be quality checking every card. Plus, I mean, it's more data for me to use to train more models to make the system better. Kind of that flywheel thing. I mean, the last analogy I used was a snowball effect, but this is more of a flywheel. You get it spinning, you keep adding energy to it, it gets better, faster, stronger. Work it, make it, do it. Harder, better, faster, stronger. So yeah, I currently have a corner model training, and I don't really want to deal with getting this batch of 20 cards photographed and ingested right now, because I don't want to slow my computer down. I'll just let the train finish how long it needs, do a ranking, and then I'll take the pictures and ingest it. Ingest the pictures. Do. I cannot wait for allergy season to be over. Then it's mosquito season. Then it will be ash fly season. Then it will be fall. There we go. It wasn't perfect, but better than the last 800 attempts. So yeah, aside from that, haven't really worked on the yo-yo trick all day, just doing dad stuff. Going on the swing with the kids. Going to speech therapy with Weston and working on basically the reason we're doing those group reading things here in homeschool is because the speech therapist suggested it, because that's kind of what we're working on speech therapy. I need to go there too. That's kind of what we're working at speech therapy. So, yeah. I also have a bunch of worksheets for us to work on over the next week, but they won't be back until Sunday. They're going to go to their mom's a day early, and it's because my daughter's got a dentist appointment tomorrow, so it'd just be easier to send them home a day early. I don't know why that bothers me. Send them to their mom's a day early, because she's going to handle the dental appointments for now, at least. And then they'll come back on Sunday instead of Monday, so yay! Woo! Not woo. I don't know what to think or say with stuff like that. I'm getting closer to actually doing this trick, but I keep on trying to do it too fast, and then I run out of space, or I don't flip the slack around just right. Still not 100% sure I like it yet, but getting closer. Trick's starting to come together, or at least it feels better than it did when I first started this about a week ago. I think it was about a week ago. I made a playlist for this, so if you want to see all the videos, there's a playlist on the YouTube channel. I think it's like Yo-Yo Trick Chad or something like that. I figured the name didn't really matter. Never does. I was hoping to do a stall and then do an arm grind into a whip. And it didn't even become a knot. Magic. Still don't feel very consistent when it comes to the initial part of that trick. I also don't know if I like this part of the trick. Oh, look, a green triangle. Kill it with fire. This part. I don't feel very consistent at it, even though I just technically did it 2 times in a row. Yeah, just 2. Now I'm at a 66% accuracy. 50% accuracy. I'm not going to do any more math. You do the math. I did play some Hypershot this afternoon, after the kids were distracted by dinner and playing games of their own. Hypershot's that Roblox first-person shooter I like, where I fly around with a rocket launcher and rain hell down upon my enemies. I want to start practicing hitting it on the first try, and catching it forces that muscle memory to form, I think. I don't actually know. But given how much training of neural networks I've been doing, and given that I am a neural network at its core, I am going to use that to my advantage and only reward myself for landing the trick right on the first try. Otherwise, the wrong pathways are being reinforced. It's reinforcement learning. Didn't you know? I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't actually want it tighter. Over attention. There we go. Nope, that's not it It twisted. I am going to use that to my advantage and only reward myself for landing the trick right on the first try. Otherwise, the wrong pathways are being reinforced. It's reinforcement learning. Didn't you know? I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't actually want it tighter. Over attention. There we go. Nope, that's not it. It twisted. Really hard to do the trick when you're doing it wrong. Just throwing that out there. We'll get there. My hair is tickling me. Anyhow, I think that I like how the trick has come together. So at this point, I just need to work on landing it. I don't really have anything in my head as far as what am I going to talk about tonight. Oh yeah, by the way, that thing that I'm doing to like get into the slack portion of the trick, I think I might do a little flip while I'm flipping that around just so it doesn't look so stationary over here before I do that. Obviously it didn't work out that first time I tried to do it, but we'll just keep on messing with it until I hit it, and then I'll be able to make a decision when I look at the slow-mo later. My allergies are still screwing with my nose. I can barely breathe through my face. It's great. Breathing through your mouth sucks when you have to talk. I'm going to start working on the entry to the trick to, like, as that breakaway comes around, bringing my hand up to it so it feels like it's flowing more as I do that undercut thing. Because otherwise it's like, okay, here we go, and do the trick. It just doesn't have a good flow to it. I'll just try to perfect it as we go. Smooth it as we go through it. You know, I'm gonna crack open that window because it's getting warm in here. Maybe some of the heat will get out. I don't know why it's so hot in here. I just have a bunch of lights on. So that's basically the trick. You saw that little flip thing that I was talking about. I don't really know if I like this part of the trick. See, right now I pop it off the side, then I throw that slack around, which I'm supposed to catch back here, pop the A up and land it on the back, and then bring this forward. Well, I didn't do it right that time, but I'll get into it. Like that. And I don't really like the way that it's coming out. That could be interesting. Anyways, what I would like to do is get to here, and once I'm there, it would really be helpful if you would do what I want. And instead of popping it off like this, pop it around, and then grab the slack and drop the AU in. I don't know why every time I do it when I'm trying to demonstrate it, it ends up in a green triangle. Maybe I should just work on this section of the trick for a moment. So that's where we're at right now. And what I would like to do is, instead of that, maybe like pop it around, swing that around. I don't know. I'm adding complexity, which is probably fine as long as it looks nice and smooth once we finally execute the trick. Oh, this is why I'm yo-yoing over carpet. Well, I remembered to throw it in the right direction that time. Let's just call it there, because I've already gone on like 5 extra minutes. So hope that you guys have been having a good one and that you are enjoying the progress of the trick. I think when I finally start hitting it cleanly, I'll edit it all down, all the videos from the last 7 or 8 sessions, and kind of make a master cut of the trick or something. I don't know if that'd be interesting, but yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more. Bye-bye.